Yo, what's up, Doe? You know, we're out here. It's Effin Football Podcast. We're off from a little hiatus, and we came back to bless you with a little bit of football knowledge. And today we're doing, what are we doing? What's today's topic, Welty?
We're doing top 10 quarterbacks for the 2018-19 season. So it's not going to be like, all right, who's been the best in the past, but for the next season, who we think can project as the top quarterback. So, you know, it leaves a little bit of room for our own little analysis, and we'll tell you that. We'll let you know what we think.
So where's Dan Marino on your list?
Dan, I mean, I wish I had Dan on my list. He didn't make it. He didn't
make
make
it. Brock Osweiler.
Man. Hot take. The boys are back in town. You know, we're not going to switch up the intro music because SOBRBE. Shout out to those guys. The song is Juice. That's the intro song. We love it. They're big fans of the podcast. So, you know, we're going to keep rolling with it. And it's good. You know, I don't know if you guys can tell. We got a little bit high tech on them. I don't know if you can tell by the video quality. But holla at your boy. New webcam. Try to get a new mic, didn't work.
We got sponsored.
Yeah. By Coors Light. So if you ever need a refreshing, cool, when the mountains are blue on the side of the can, that's how you know that it's Coors Light cold. So, you know, we're going to jump right into it. The top 10 quarterbacks for the, our opinion, you know, it's our projection. It's our top 10. You know, feel free to comment on the Twitter or the YouTube or what have you, you know, with your agreements, your disagreements, your top 10, whatever you'd like to do. But Ty Dolla Sign's going to kick it off with number 10 on our list.
Derek Carr. Derek Carr. I didn't agree to this, but, you know, Rory's a big Raiders fan, so we had to throw him on there.
That's the only reason he's on there.
This isn't how countdowns work. You're not allowed to trash the guy in the countdown.
I will say, I think last year was probably his worst season that he's going to have as a pro. I think he can only get better. John Gruden is supposed to be God's gift to the Raiders and the NFL, so if you subscribe to that, Carr is going to have a great year too. I think he got more mascara. It should block out the sun in his eyes, and he should be able to have a more clear line of vision.
Those are the nicest things Dollar Sign has to say about Derek.
Well, thanks, man. He didn't.
He's like good looking.
He's a man of Jesus. He's a man of Jesus,
yeah.
And Jesus is going to get him to the end zone.
He's been praying hard.
I'm gonna take off these goofy glasses, you know, because I'm not goofing around. You know, it was, you know, since he's been a pro, his worst statistical season. Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it. You know, where were they coming from right before the season? You know, the previous season they were running. He's finished third in MVP voting. You know, broke his leg in a fucking horrendous play. I remember sitting there with my mom. I was out in Northern California at a great little dive bar in Petaluma, and you know, we were dominating the Colts. It was all, you know, sunshine and rainbows until this motherfucker's leg, till Donald Penn slips up. His only sack that he gave up the whole season. Brace Carr's leg, you know, and you know, you were hoping for a bounce back last year. You know, they fired Bill Musgrave. They promoted quarterback coach Todd Downing to the offensive coordinator position, first-time coordinator. You know, anybody who watched a Raider game last year knows that guy did not know how to call plays, like period, straight up. Did not put his players in a position to succeed. And you know, by the way, in week 4 or 5, he broke 3 bones in his back. Only sat out for 1 game and played the rest of the season. So I think that might be a contributing factor, you know, to the statistical woes that he faced last year. But, you know, you got to take this into consideration. John Gruden, game changer. You know, everybody says the guy's been out of the game, you know, for a decade, what have you. He hasn't been out of the game, you know. All the quarterbacks, you know, John Gruden's QB school. What's his coaches, the Fired Football Coaches Association?
I've never heard of that.
Never heard of it in my life.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's, out of the same studio that he filmed the Gruden's QB school. He was working for Monday Night Football, sweet gig. That's why it took him so long to get back into coaching. He's been familiar with all the defensive coordinators, all the quarterbacks, the offensive coordinators, the head coaches, the schemes, the changes. I think he's going to be an X factor. Carr's extremely talented, can make every throw. Was very productive throughout the beginning of his career. They've added Jordy Nelson as a veteran presence. Martavis Bryant, there's a little scare about whether or not he would get suspended this season, but haven't heard anything since the rumor that came out of Las Vegas.
Oh, he will be. If not for this, for something else.
Yeah, that they traded a 3rd-round pick for the guy. It's boom or bust, man. That guy is a deep threat. You added to Marshawn Lynch, was amongst the most productive running backs in the second half of last season. We drafted 2 tackles in the first 3 rounds of the draft. The team's set up to succeed. And I think the key is going to be Carr showing up at 5 a.m., first man in the building, besides for Gruden, and being the last man to leave. The guy's dedicated. You guys make fun of him for being a Christian, but he's got good morals.
I was not making fun of him.
I don't make fun of him.
Sounded like you guys were making fun.
I make fun of him for a lot of other reasons.
I'll tell you this much. The kid loves football. The guy is dedicated. He's going to pour every ounce of his being into learning the playbook and the system. And, he's only a year removed from being a top 3 MVP candidate in the league. So, some people may have disagreed with him being on our top 10, and it couldn't be further from the truth. If anything, he should be rated higher.
Well, Derek Carr's got a long ways to go. I mean, it's kind of like a prove-it season. If he doesn't come out and perform this season, then the Raiders, what are they going to do? They're paying him a bunch of money. It's going to be kind of interesting to see where they go. But potential is there. I think losing Michael Crabtree is kind of a big deal. That was kind of his go-to guy for like that whole season. This is Ted, by the way.
Ted Dolla Sign. Bam, bam, bam. Welcome, Ted, to the podcast. Yeah. Ted, what do you think about? Ted gives Carr 3 licks up. Yeah. 3 licks up in the face.
My problem with Derek Carr is that he can't throw when he's faced under pressure a lot. I mean, he's always got great time, and he needs that time to do well. But you know what? We'll see what happens. I like the John Gruden. I like Jordy Nelson. I mean, it's not great, but it helps. But we'll see, man. I don't know. I don't think Marshawn Lynch is going to be that helpful. He's not getting any younger. So, but he's in the top 10. We put him there just because, whatever. I'm pretty sure he hasn't thrown for over 4,000 yards in a season before, so.
What's fucking awesome is the fact that we're able to record this and look back at it this time next year so that these guys can fucking get a lot of humble pie shoved right in their face. I'll be the first one to do it. And if anything, he's going to outshine his number 10 ranking. And in next year's ranking, it'll be more like top 5, okay? And you can count me on that. Everybody's going to talk about one of our young dudes who's in the top 10 this year. And I think he might regress a little bit. We all have our opinions.
Young dudes, huh?
But you got to take all the you got to take all the variables into consideration. And 1 year removed from a great season, having a tougher broken back season, the guy can't get a pass. I guess
he's injury prone. His running back is old. He has a new coach. He's got some things working against him, but he can make some throws. So he's in the top 10. He made it barely.
And Welty gave him the thumbs up for the top 10. Ty Dolla Sign may not have, but Ty Welty gave him the top 10 thumbs up. So.
I'm just going to say honorable mention, Kirk Cousins. I'm just going to throw that out there. Top paid quarterback in the league. Didn't make the top 10.
Not top paid, but most guaranteed money, record-breaking contract. If we have time at the end, we can go over some honorable mentions, but we started from the...
Perhaps.
We started from the bottom up. Started from the bottom, now we here.
The bottom of the barrel.
So, Ty, who came in that, I know we all love Derek Carr a lot. We could talk about him for the whole podcast if we wanted to, We all could, we all could. But, let's just, let's not have our cake and eat it too. Let's move on to number 9.
For number 9, we have Big Ben Roethlisberger from the Steelers. It's no surprise he has the best wide receiver in football, Antonio Brown, possibly the best running back in football, Le'Veon Bell.
Possibly.
Possibly. It's debatable. It's
Oh.
debatable.
David Johnson's coming back. Who might
David
give him a
Johnson's
run for
pretty
his
nice
money.
too. It's debatable. If he's not one,
You guys
he's
can
two.
debate it.
If he's not
Le'Veon's
he's two.
one.
That's all I'm saying.
Antonio's more debatable than Le'Veon is.
Point being, he still has Pro Bowlers all around him. Division is still not great as always.
Kind of like set up there in that division, right?
Been set up for years.
Just like the Patriots, man.
Yeah, Ravens aren't even good anymore. That was their main rival. So I'm sure that they're going to win AFC North once again, and he's going to put up some pretty good numbers, and they're going to the playoffs. Contender for the AFC.
Yeah, I'll chime in first. Hey, Ted, I love you, baby. I'll chime in first on this one. Like Dolla said, this is a division that's theirs to take. It's a franchise that's consistent, since way back in the day, since the 70s. There's only been 3 head coaches in the history of the Steelers franchise. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then I don't know what will. That's they're the epitome of consistency. Where they're at in this era is offensive focus. So, they're trying to piece together that defense, but they're putting, everything they can into making that offense work. Big Ben, he's very consistent. If there was any quarterback on the list that I didn't want in the top 10, it was this guy, in my opinion. Just like he's fading with age. The first half of last season, I don't know if you recall, people were really putting out question marks on this guy. He had a 5-interception game. Forgot who it was against.
Forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah. He really turned it around in the second half. And I am a big Ben fan. A big Ben.
A big Ben fan?
A big.
Yeah. I'm a large Big Ben fan.
Big fan of the guy. Love his toughness. Like, that's what you want out of a quarterback. That's why he's on the list, I know we're projecting the 2018 season, but we can't forget about all the seasons that came before. And he's been the epitome of toughness. And if you want to throw out injury prone, he's had his share of injuries, but he's played through a lot. Almost Brett Favre-like, playing through injuries. And he's the type of guy when you go back in the huddle, you want to look at that guy and know that he's got your back and that he's going to make it happen, And that's then AB, Le'Veon, who in my opinion is by far the best running back in the league. He should get paid like a number 1 running back and a number 2 wide receiver. That's what he says, but that's his value. So when you have all these weapons, Juju, it's tough to argue with his positioning at this point.
The guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer, like
For
unquestionably.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe he
2
has
Super
regressed
Bowls.
a little bit, but with those weapons, it doesn't matter. Like, Juju's going to be Antonio Brown is great, first ballot Hall of Famer as well. Le'Veon probably too, and they're all probably coming towards the end of their prime for sure. But this is it. This is going to be a great year for the Killer Bees. And Big Ben, obviously, he's the leader of the offense. You just know he's going to get it done. And the divisions being super easy, it kind of helps when you play the Browns twice a year. You play the Bengals twice a year.
Is that not a stat pattern?
Yeah, and you're going to see him in the playoffs making plays, people trying to tackle him, ripping them off, and then just throwing the ball downfield. That's what he does. And I got to say, most underappreciated. I really enjoyed watching Big Ben play over the years. Even if I fucking hate the Steelers, you're watching good football when you turn that on because he's giving his best football. He's trying his best, and he's tough. He plays through the injuries. You can see he's into it. He's I don't know. He's a dedicated player. So I think he's a good top 10. I think maybe it could be higher, but I think it's a good spot for him. We like it, Big Ben.
Here's a side question. How much longer does he play with all this, the last 2 seasons flirting with retirement? Was that all BS or?
I think he's the next Brett Favre. I think he just talks about retiring.
Until they draft, who was the quarterback they took?
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
He's threatened by Mason Rudolph.
Third
come on,
round?
Third round. Like,
Here's-
what do you think's gonna happen, man? Come on.
here's
Shut up and play.
my ideology on quarterbacks. You know, you have the rare Russell Wilson in the third or Tom Brady in the sixth, number 199 overall. But like, if you don't get a quarterback in the first round or high second, you know, they're almost nothing. You know, when I see teams take quarterbacks in the third, fourth, fifth round, it's like basically wasted draft picks. You know, because how many times does it have to go around before you get that Russell Wilson or that Tom Brady? How many quarterbacks can you think of in like those mid rounds that made any sort of impact?
Well, you usually don't ever get a chance, and there's no way that they're set to be starters. I mean, they have to wait for somebody to get injured, or I don't know. Maybe that's pretty much your only chance. Somebody gets injured, you go in there and you perform decently.
Actually, I just got a call.
Which is very possible.
That's exactly what Mason Rudolph's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to wait for an injury and then go in and play well, and that's the only way he's gonna get time.
Who was their current backup quarterback? Landry when he was
Landry Jones.
Yeah, Landry Jones. He was taken in what, the third or fourth? Was he third?
Something like that.
Same sort of thing. But I just got a call on the line from John Gruden, and he's talking about Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah, remember when he loved him in Gruden's camp? And
I was hoping you would come through with like.
And he just cut him.
I was hoping you would come through with the John Gruden impression. I'll tell you what, man. I don't want him on my team.
Yeah, that's what happens when you like everyone.
Yeah, well, you know, broadcast analysts game. All right, let's move on. Let's keep it rolling. Big Ben, we all appreciate the career. It's debatable where you land on the list, and you're not in my top 10, I'll tell you that much.
Number 8, we have Russell Wilson.
Come to the bathroom with this guy.
There we go.
Russell Wilson, number 8. I personally don't.
I know
agree.
you got a lot of problems with this one.
I personally
right?
don't agree. I don't think his roster is great. It hasn't been in a while. Now he's losing guys on defense. He lost guys on defense. I think that they're actually going to be a very bad team this year, and he's going to have to carry them once again. And I just think that you can only do that for so long, and the division's getting tougher around him, so he's going to be running for his life.
Can we get a record prediction?
I'm gonna go 6 and 10.
6. I was gonna say the over under at 7. I was gonna go for that. But okay.
6 and 10.
6 and 10.
All right, I understand where Ty Dolla $ign's coming from, but I keep going second. I want Welty to go second on this one. I'll go third.
All right. There's no reason to hate on Russell Wilson. That guy is awesome. He makes plays all day. His running game is gonna be better this year. He's honestly
because who'd they draft?
Yeah, they drafted the guy from SDSU.
Rashad Penny, motherfucker, leading rusher in the nation.
And then Carson came back with Chris Carson. He was running well for him. I think they're going to be better than last year, honestly. Like Russell Wilson, he can make all the throws. He's clutch. I mean, he's the best guy in the backfield. Like, who would you rather watch run around? It's like Barry Sanders, the quarterbacks back there running around making plays for these guys. All right, it might not reflect in the stats as much as you think, but his quarterback play is going to be top 10 for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. But I don't know. What do you get? I mean, you can't Super Bowl winning. What do you want from him?
Well, you know, that window for Super Bowl is closed really fast on those Seahawks, and like the breaking point was that play call that we all watched. I remember where I was
The whole team, Pat Carroll lost the whole team.
Where were you at, Ty, when that play happened, that interception in the end zone against the Patriots?
I was at Crazy Kyle's house.
Crazy, were you at Crazy? Did I tell you I saw him at Barnes the other day?
Did you?
Yeah.
Is he shaving it?
He's shaving it.
How many Xanax bars?
He shaved it. He shaved his number of Xanax bars down to just several.
Crazy Kyle.
Where were you at when that play happened?
I was at a Super Bowl party where there was 2 guys next to me. Don't get gay.
Wait, whoa.
I'm just gonna say.
Wasn't me.
Anyways, they both lost $700 on that play because one guy had squares where it was $100 per square, and the other guy had Seahawks to win the game. And they were just jumping up and down, so excited, money in the bank, and then just just lost it.
I remember where I was at, but before that, what everybody forgets is like those memorable Super Bowl moments. But right before they hit the red zone, there was that amazing catch where it bounced off. What was the receiver?
Jermaine Kearse.
That
was supposed to be the play of the Super Bowl. That was supposed to be like one of the greatest plays of all time.
Crazy one where he gets off the ground reminds me of the really old school Monday Night Football. Antonio Freeman, and Brett Favre. I don't even gotta explain it. This guy knows what I'm talking about, and that's effing football for you guys, motherfucker. Get on the motherfucking page with us, you know what I'm talking about. I was at Derek's house with Lito, with Lit One, my rapping brother, LOY, holla at your boys. And I just remember, like, watching that and just, like, everybody in disbelief. You know, because it was only second down, and they had a timeout, right?
I feel like I kept like waiting for it. Like, wait, no, this isn't how this ends. Like, cause they're gonna come back. Like, there's gonna be a penalty or something. Like, this has to be reversed.
I remember the camera going to Tom Brady's face. This is what makes Tom Brady instead of LeBron James, having that winning record in the Super Bowl as opposed to the losing record. You know what I'm saying? That one got gifted to him.
That was a gift.
That was a gift. You know, and Pete Carroll lost all the trust of the locker room. The team fell apart after that. But I'm not gonna put all that on Russell Wilson. You know, the guy, I remember coming out with the Luck RG3 draft class.
Yeah.
RG3 won Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Luck looked like one of the best, but like can't even play football right now. We don't even know.
Can't throw a football.
Can't throw a full size. What's he called? The Duke. Can't throw the Duke. And, you know, I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. You know, Ty Dolla Sign's exactly right. You know, the statistics might not be there this year because the supporting cast is not great. I love the Rashad Penny pick. But at the end of the day, he's one of the most athletic players at the position. He's extremely efficient when it comes to quarterback rating, accuracy, outside the pocket, inside the pocket. He can do everything you would ask of a quarterback. He doesn't got the same sort of arm as like a Derek Carr where he can hit every throw.
Hey, 95.4 passer rating last year. It's not bad considering he didn't really have anybody to throw to. Paul Richardson was his guy.
He's the type of guy that he'll get lost and the stats won't be there, but they'll still kind of be there.
Chicken salad out of chicken shit.
I know Ty hates that he's on the list, but that's how I felt about
I hope
Big
you meet
Ben.
this guy one day and you tell that to him face. You are a chicken salad out of chicken shit.
He makes chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Does he really?
Yes.
Well, I just learned something. That's why you're in the top 10, Russell.
Jesus turned water into wine.
I'll tell you what, instead of honorable mention at the very end of this, after we get by number one, we're all going to put 2-3 players in to replace players from the current list. Like who we would have put in. Oh, thank you.
Let's move on
from Russell. Let's move on from Russell. And don't forget that the Effin Football Podcast is always sponsored by Cold Coors Light. It's amazing.
All right.
805 is a sub-sponsor. What we got, number 6?
Number 7, we have Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons. He has two tandem running backs with Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman.
Highest paid running back in the league.
Yes, he is. And yeah, I mean he's got weapons all the time. It seems like he's had weapons ever since he came to the league. There's some some uncertainty with Julio Jones right now and the contract talks, but I think that will get resolved. He's going to be with the team when the season starts. Plays in a dome, very manicured, puts up consistent numbers every year. I don't see why this year is going to be any different. The division is up and down at times. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be the bottom dwellers, and then Panthers probably going to have a middle of the road defense, so they really just have to compete with the Saints again.
That's tough competition.
Tough competition, but I mean he's going to put up numbers. He's a solid B+ quarterback.
Who do you think wins that division?
I'm going to say the Saints win it again.
Yeah.
Everything stays the same, assuming their defense stepped up even just a notch. I think that they're going to take the division again.
I like that pick.
Yes.
You know, I think you want to win.
Yeah, I mean, Matty Ice has been consistent over his entire career. Should have a Super Bowl ring. 28-3.
Another gift.
Yeah, another gift, Tom Brady. All right, you earned that one a little bit. I would say you.
Crazy.
He led that comeback.
Yeah, I mean, but I think Matt Ryan really missed Matt Shanahan last year. That was something that was a big deal.
Kyle Shanahan.
Sorry, there we go. Brought to you by 805.
Yeah, that's why we're not sponsored by these guys. But if you guys would like to sponsor us, we'll take a sub-sponsor.
Anyways, but yeah, they drafted Calvin Ridley for the first round pick, so it's another Alabama guy to go with Julio Jones. It's another weapon for him. The running backs we talked about, I think that defense is finally above average at least, so that kind of going to help him out when he's going to be trying to score more points. He's going to be on the field more often. And yeah, like I said, the guy can make all the throws. He's exciting, but I don't know. He doesn't seem to be making the next step. He's not going to be great. He's always going to be good. He's never going to be Tom Brady. He's never going to be Aaron Rodgers. But I think he'll be in like one of those other quarterbacks we'll talk about later. He's kind of in the same category with them. But
did he not win the MVP the season that they went to the Super Bowl?
Yes, he did. But that was his career year. I mean, I don't think it's going to get any better than that.
You know what it reminds me of?
It could be close.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Same division. Cam Newton. When you see that peak year.
That peak year, yeah.
You know, that peak year, that best year out of quarterback. A guy who was always, he was the type of guy who was always like slightly like underrated or overrated. Like people had different opinions on him.
And you just put it all together.
Monster year, you know, and this is the part that a lot of people don't talk about. It's the coaching staff. It's the offensive system. It's the pieces around him. You know, so we're ranking these quarterbacks, but there's so many variables, you know, and that's why it's all, you know, is your opinion better than our opinion? I'd love to hear about it. Hit us up at Twitter, at Effin Football. You know, I'm a Matt Ryan fan, coming out of Boston College. Always followed the career since day one. You know, he came out, Matt Stafford was the year after him.
Yes.
You know, and the year before was Sam Bradford, or two years before.
Bradford was after both of them.
Was he?
2010.
Was Bradford?
no.
Was he really?
Yes.
So this is like the type of things
He
that blow
seems
your
older
mind.
than both of them.
Doesn't he? Like injury history, like you
Yeah.
follow all these top quarterbacks, and it's so great to watch the career, you know, progression, because Matt Stafford, not highly touted, you know, until not last year, but the year before last, when Carr comes up third in MVP voting. Stafford was right there. He led 8 fourth quarter comebacks, you know, league record for the season. It was looking awesome and amazing. And it's funny how these guys can have one great season, you know, consistent seasons, one great season, one down season.
Remember, he had Calvin Johnson, and that was like, it was Megatron. I mean, you got Megatron, you just throw the ball up, and he does the rest for you. I mean,
What's up with superstars retiring too early in Detroit, man? You know,
I guess they want to have their brains
Detroit,
right.
Rock City. You know, there's not a lot I can say on Matt Ryan. He's got a lot of complimentary pieces. I think he deserves to be in the top 10.
I think Matt Ryan's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he is.
That's a good question.
I think he's super consistent. I think
It
he's
depends
been
on-
a very consistent B plus quarterback ever since he's been in the league.
He's going to have big stats.
Yeah.
How old is he?
I
We
think
don't have
he's
our iPad
30 I
out.
think he's 30.
Yeah, so he's got another 6-7 years, because that's how quarterbacks do.
Playing in the Dome. Just got that big contract.
You know, this is the thing. Why these guys question like Derek Carr, like his stats at the beginning of his career on the projection with Hall of Famers. You know what I mean? So if Matt Ryan stays on the same projection, if he gets that Super Bowl win, which
For
he should
sure.
have,
For sure.
then, you know, he's in there as long as he plays enough years, you
Yes.
know. But at the end
Still
of the
has
day,
a chance. Still has a chance to win the Super Bowl.
still has a chance. At the end of the day, it's all about hardware, right? That's how they, especially in the NFL.
All right, so in 2016, he threw 38 touchdowns. Last year, he threw 20 touchdowns.
It's a big difference, almost half.
Yeah.
So, that's that QB rating 117 down to 91. You know, but people don't really go by rating anymore. It's more like QBR, which is much more like it's much more intricate in the type of what they're looking for, you know, out of a quarterback. But I'm a big fan of Matt Ryan. He's the type of guy that I think has the longevity to put up he's like a Phillip Rivers who never has got the ring or the hardware. But in my opinion, you know, we'll talk about him, you know, some other time or maybe later in this podcast. Who knows? But, same sort of dude to me. That's what
Yeah.
it reminds me of. Not in play style, but in career trajectory so far.
Makes sense.
Funny you say that, because number 6, we have Mr. Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Number 1 in my heart.
Yeah.
And I know
the most underrated in the league, by the way.
Ty's been leading off each quarterback, but I'm going to lead this one off.
All right.
I'm going to say that he's overranked because I'm standing next to 2 Charger fans, but there's no way that I would leave him out of my top 10. I'll tell you that much. He's the type of guy when you're with all your buds and you're doing the fantasy football draft and everybody's hyped up, they forget about this guy. He drops into the later rounds and he always outperforms his draft status, And, when I watch him play, it's the type of guy where the stats are there, but when you watch him play football, he passes the eyeball test. You know what I mean? When you watch him play, you see it, man. He's a leader, refuses to curse. It's a lot more similar to Derek Carr than you would think.
No.
Except for, he doesn't got the arm strength that Carr has, but he has the anticipation and timing and the knowledge. The guy's a quarterback's quarterback. When it comes to a quarterback, you want to lead a team. That guy wants to win. And also,
so glad we have this on video. If you remember this.
These guys,
all those times you talk shit.
These guys refuse to say good things, and I'm going to rub it in your face next year when Carr has a great season. And I'm also going to congratulate you when Rivers has a good season, because I know he will. And
You have never once congratulated me when the Chargers did anything.
I most certainly have.
Certainly have not.
I most certainly have. All right.
Anyways, Rivers is a baller, okay? He's a baller. He gets it done. He's fiery. He's a smart guy. He's a smart quarterback. He's fun to watch. He might piss some people off, and it's only because he's not playing on the team that you like. If he's on your team, you freaking love this guy. He's got good weapons. Melvin Gordon's been solid. They're going to get him involved in the passing game more. Keenan Allen, he's freaking awesome, too. And he's led the league in third down catches. Yeah, also underrated. Losing Hunter Henry was kind of a bummer. They won a lot of games when Hunter Henry won a lot or got a lot of passes.
I don't know if you ever had him on your fantasy team, but he sucks.
See, this is the thing that people
This was the year that he was going to be a fantasy stud. This was the year.
He was too soon. You didn't draft him.
I don't want to
drafted him a year too soon.
I don't want to cut you off, but I have a talking point when you're done.
I know you're upset about Hunter Henry.
I just want.
But Mike Williams, she's got another year coming back too. It's going to be solid.
Mike Williams.
Tyrell Williams is still solid too. Travis Benjamin can still run almost as fast as anybody in the league. And he's still got those pass rushers on the other side of the football that are going to give him the ball back to make opportunities. I mean, like I said, Matt Ryan, he's consistent. And this guy needs a ring. It's about time. And by the way, I'm going to win $360 if you get one, so I'm rooting for you. Anyway, Dolla, what you got?
Before Ty goes in, just a couple of talking points on what you said. Mike Williams is like getting a first round. It's like getting another first round pick, right?
Yeah, it's like another first round wide receiver you add to the mix.
And then on the side, the tight end situation, why haven't they taken Antonio Gates back onto the roster?
Because Antonio Gates isn't going to play in training camp, and he's going to come at the end of the season.
They're just going to wait.
Why not? I mean, it's not like he doesn't know the offense.
What I've read is he will only play for the Chargers, or he's not going to play this season.
Yeah, I mean, that
I
makes
think
sense.
he would be on the roster.
Virgil Green is.
They're going to bring Gates back.
Another AFC West former Bronco.
Yep, former Bronco.
Ty, I cut Ty off. This is Ty. Ty jerks off to Phillip Rivers posters in his room. I can show you.
Fathead has 2 meanings.
That was good.
Is that how it sticks on the wall?
Exactly. And he said,
Makes sense now.
Bam, bam, bam! Yeah.
I'm super excited about this year. Not just about the offense. The defense is going to be sick. We got our guy in Derwin James.
Quite the pick.
What a pick!
Yeah.
He's just going to be.
That's a great pick.
He's just going to be such a fun player to
pick.
watch. I'm not saying he's going to be the savior of the defense, but he doesn't have to be. We have a great defensive line, good cornerbacks in Casey Hayward and Jason Barrett. He's going to be in the middle of the field, making plays, putting hits on people, tipping balls. I mean,
I thought we were talking about quarterbacks. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm totally
he's-
down for
he's
this.
gonna-
So.
I'm just saying, a great defense always helps a quarterback. It always helps the offense out.
He'll be tipping passes, and he's literally down for it.
I think last year too.
And we got Mike Pouncey, so
That's
he's going to
true.
be the one protecting him up front. That should give him some more time.
They
to
shored
make
up their
some
line
plays.
a little bit. I think last year the move to LA was kind of tough on everyone, especially
And
Rivers.
not a lot of people talk about that. Like, that's kind
It
of a
was a
big
little
deal for your entire team to move.
The whole team had to move,
that's-
find houses to live in. Philip Rivers has 8 kids. He had to coordinate all of that. I
Yeah.
think they're more settled in this year. I think they're more comfortable and just ready to play football. And I'm super
What?
excited.
Some dogs on that team. There's some dogs on
Some
the Chargers.
dogs.
Yeah. Ooh.
Rivers always puts up numbers.
You
I
guys
think
are-
this year he's going to put up numbers. And
You guys are getting excited, man. I
I'm
remember
super
this time
excited.
last year when everybody was like Raiders, Super Bowl contender. The Chargers are getting a lot of but you know what you guys always deal with is a tremendous amount of injuries and also on the field mental errors. Are you guys going to clean that up this year? It seems like the Chargers are always dropping the ball in critical situations.
mental errors are a part of the Chargers. That's no question, but it's
I think it was mostly
it's
the-
something you can always improve on.
It was the kicking game. That was really it. If they had
Kicking-
if they had above average kicking game, they would have won 3 more
Yeah, it's
games,
always
and
the
they only
kicking.
needed to
It's
win
always
one
kicking.
more to be winning the playoffs.
Well,
Well, why
remains to
didn't
be
you
seen.
sign?
We'll see how
Why
it
didn't you
goes.
sign Sebastian Janikowski instead of the Seahawks? The year before last.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Well, what about the AFC West?
Not worried about the Broncos.
It's a
to be
crapshoot.
honest. Their defense is going to be pretty solid, but I'm not worried about them. Not really worried about the Chiefs. Raiders could have a good year, but I think we're.
I think we're the two dogs fighting for it.
I think we're number 1 in the division right now.
I think we're in Mike Vick's backyard, and we're battling.
We're gonna duke it out.
We're gonna duke it out,
Yeah.
and I think it'll be fun. I think we'll split this season series this year. I'll call it right now. You guys will win in Oakland.
1-1.
We'll win in LA.
We'll see.
I'm gonna call it.
I feel like there should be a bet if any team sweeps that someone's got to pay out.
Oh man.
It's a 2-on-1. I don't want to get double teamed.
That's not what you said last night.
All right, if I win the bet, I get to fuck both you guys.
Oh wow.
We can work a side bet. We can work a bet on the
you-
side.
you
I'm not
get-
going to commit to anything on the podcast.
You,
Well, I'll tell you
you would get paid twice, but then you have to pay out twice.
all right.
Think about it.
The season series or
Season series. Anybody sweeps, one's got to pay out. Actually, me and Dollar Sign will both have to pay out.
all right. Well, can I put up the same $20 as you guys then?
$50.
$50.
Well, I'll do $20. All right. Wait. If you win, we both give you $20. If you lose, you gotta give us $20 a piece.
$10 a piece.
10, yeah.
10.
Because he's
Yeah.
one person.
Yeah, I'm putting up 20.
But then I have to give.
I'll
him
put up 20, but then you guys could put up 40,
No, we'll both give you 10.
and then I'll give you guys 5.
That's how it works, man.
Bullshit.
All right, let's do it. We're doing a undetermined amount of money, but we're gonna make a bet.
We'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah.
let you guys know how.
We'll let you know insider scoop on the next podcast what the fuck happened with this bet. But I'll say overall, Philip Rivers, great dude, great quarterback. Really dig the guy. I think he's overrated on our list, but I'll put him in almost a Hall of Fame jacket. Let's see how many more years he plays. Stack those stats up. Earn it. Not put him there without
get
the
a
Super
ring.
Bowl. The rare quarterback without the Super Bowl who gets in. I'm rooting for him. But fuck the Chargers.
All right, number 5, we got Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans.
Wow, this was a surprise to me. Open it.
It's a surprise. It's almost like a hope. It's like a hope and a dream that he comes back to form. To me, he was the most exciting player in the NFL last year.
Man,
Just that stretch of games where he was just coming in, he was slinging it all over the field.
how
He was-
exciting.
He was running everywhere. He didn't give a shit. He didn't care that he was a rookie. He's like, I have DeAndre Hopkins. I have Will Fuller. I'm just gonna fucking throw it to them every time and let them jump for it. Super exciting football, and I just hope he gets back to that place because he's awesome and he was super fun to watch. That Texans team hasn't been fun to watch in a long time. They've always had a great defense and no quarterback. and this is the guy that could put the team over the top. Questions about his knee, his ACL tear, when he's going to come back. Those are big questions. And will he have the same kind of mobility, the same confidence to run around like he was doing before? This is a hope, but I think if everything works out well, he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the game, and he can have a great year this year.
Man, everything you just said, Dolla, just made me think about all the highlights I was watching from Watson, because nobody's watching full Texans games. Sorry.
Just sexy highlights.
Leslie out in Houston. Shout out to Houston, and he'd be out there. H-Town. We all down for the South. Shout out to UGK.
I've been there.
Andre 3000. You know what I mean? Like, we're all down for the South. We're out here in San Diego, California, and like we watch highlights of the Houston Texans performances, Deshaun Watson specifically, and wow. That was electrifying last year. I was electrified. I felt like I got hit by a bolt.
On my dick.
Yeah, not a Chargers bolt, but a Houston Texans bolt. A current of like a DC?
Yeah,
like
a
Derek
Benjamin
Carr?
Franklin.
Like ever like I got a kite with a key attached to it?
Yeah.
Possibly. I'll tell you this.
Like that.
This much, the kid is exciting. Coming out of college, coming out of Clemson. That's right, baby. Underrated. He's one of those guys they didn't know where to place him in the draft. Whereas this guy, how good is he? I believed in that dude. I thought he would be a really good quarterback. I didn't think that he would do what he.
Okay, yeah.
I talked about.
It's easy to say now.
Dude, these guys don't analyze the draft. I do, and I really like that quarterback. But he could be like balls out, lightning right now, and who knows what happens after the injury. But ACL, not too serious, not the worst injury.
People come back, but he is a mobile quarterback, so it might affect his mobility.
He's doing well in the pocket.
Yes.
And he's on a team that was making the playoff year after year with the most garbage quarterback rotation possible. So he's in a very good place in terms of like team. Welty, I know you're biting your tongue to get in here.
No, okay. When he was healthy last year, the Texans, I would say arguably, were the best offense in the league. They were putting up like 45, 50 points like every single week. And to me, this is what Russell Wilson would do if he had the weapons. Like, it's exactly kind of the same kind of game. But, he's got Will Fuller, and then DeAndre Hopkins, who is massively underrated just because he always plays with the crappiest quarterbers.
What?
But now it's an explosive, crazy offense. The running game has been kind of helped out. They got another young guy in there to help out with who is it? The Lamar Jackson? Not Lamar Jackson. Who am I talking about?
Oh, they drafted
Lamar Miller. Yeah, they drafted another running back to go with Lamar Miller too. So I honestly think that he deserves to be in the top 5. He's right. He's going to be right up there next year. Health obviously is going to be a thing, but he does everything you want in a quarterback. He runs, he throws the deep ball, he's precision. It's just a matter of staying healthy. And the NFL will be better to watch if he's healthy. It's going to be a more exciting game.
And he's fearless.
This is going to be the biggest surprise on our top 10 list as people watch it. And I understand why, because Welty basically numbered the guys. But I wasn't going to fight it because I thought it would be an interesting talking point right here when we hit 5. Because when you watched him last year when he was healthy,
go watch the games and then come back and then tweet us with how you're still going to be upset. There's no way.
I kind of like him a little bit more than somebody who's ranked above him on this list, but deserves it because he played more. He's played more. But when you watch this guy play, it's the eyeball test. With some of these guys like Roethlisberger didn't have like the hugest stats last year, but watch him play football, and then make your call. And this guy's just fire, fucking fire. That fireball emoji?
Yeah.
Send it to me when this guy's playing on Sundays, this season. Where do you think he'll go in the? Here's a side question. Where do you think he'll go in our league fantasy football draft?
Top 3 rounds.
Quarterback?
Yeah. Top 3 rounds?
Yeah, I bet you he goes in the
How
top
many
3.
quarterbacks
No way.
are going? Well, guess who values them in the top 3?
Yeah, nice pick.
I would say he'll go in the top 3. I bet you Brandon gets him.
You
Brandon
can-
loved him.
You can get good quarterbacks.
Brandon's
in the
gonna draft
10th
Andrew
round.
Luck again.
Yeah. Well, Jack drafted him last year.
I know, but he had him before.
You guys know I get quarterbacks last every year anyways. That's why I got Jameis Winston last year. Thanks, bud. Thanks.
AFC South is also a very mediocre division, and I think the
It helps.
Jaguars are going to bounce back
You-
back down to earth.
Oh, bounce
Oh,
back.
I was
as
like,
in
what do you mean?
Bounce backwards.
Excuse me, down.
They're not going to bounce back. They're going to bounce backwards.
Yes, exactly.
Really, but they got such a good defense, man. And that's like
They have
when
a
you're
good
defending this guy,
Yes,
Deshaun Watson.
They have a good defense, but I don't know. I just think they're a bit of fool's gold. We'll see.
I respect that opinion because when you look at the offense, I'm not a Blake Bortles believer.
No,
You
neither
know,
am I.
and they should have beat the Patriots.
That's why he's not on the top 10.
He's not in the top 30 for us.
He didn't even make the original list.
we wrote out a list of like how many quarterbacks are on this list.
Yeah, Sam
25,
Bradford's on
26,
this list.
27. Didn't even make the list.
I
you
think
know.
Bortles gets too much shit. I don't think he's the worst quarterback at all, like by any means.
Top 5 worst.
Uh,
Starting quarterbacks, top 5 worst.
perhaps.
Yeah,
But I
top
think he
5
gets more shit than he deserves.
Maybe we should do a bottom 10 and just rag on these guys' fucking favorite teams. But like, yeah, fuck your quarterback and fuck your quarterback. You guys suck.
Well, some of those
That's not
teams,
bad.
the hard part is like a lot of those teams, the quarterbacks we can't rank is like, the teams where rookies are coming in. Like, how do you rank, the New York Jets?
Did we disclaimer that no rookies were even eligible for this list?
Yeah, they just can't,
But last year, Deshaun Watson would have been one of those guys.
for sure. And
Okay,
it's like,
fair enough.
this guy doesn't believe me, but I
It
believe
could
in this
happen.
quarterback.
It has happened. It could
I
happen.
may not have drafted him or picked him up on free agency, but I did believe in this quarterback. When he came
He
through.
didn't put his money where his mouth is, but he did believe in some way.
Well, I think we all are giving a big Effin football podcast thumbs up on Deshaun Watson. He's a fucking really good quarterback, and we're expecting big things from him this year. Let's move on.
Number 4, we have Carson Wentz from the Eagles, the Super Bowl champion Eagles, even though he didn't win it himself.
Did he get a ring?
You got the ring.
He
You
got
get the
He
ring.
got a ring.
They never make it without him. Okay?
I think he still would have won, even if he was healthy. I think he would have won the Super Bowl. He has one of the most talented rosters, top to bottom, in the NFL, and a lot of them came back. He hasn't really lost anyone. He lost the backup tight end to the Bears. What's his name? Mack. Yeah,
Backup
Yeah,
tight end.
not a big deal.
not a big deal. See, I forgot it.
Yeah, the backup tight end.
Added Mike Wallace, Marcus Wheaton. Those guys aren't like game changers, but they're other quick, fast targets that he can throw to, along with Alshon Jeffrey.
Who they
Nelson
re-signed.
Aguilar.
That's almost like an
Re-signed
ad
him.
because they re-signed him.
Re-signed him to a big deal. He's got his big
Great move.
target. Zach Ertz, all-pro tight end, solid defense. Kind of a weak division once again. They're definitely one of the top contenders in the NFC East. Again, it just comes down to his knee, and will he be back fully healthy? This guy he would have been the MVP last year had he finished the regular season.
You might be right on that.
I know I'm right. He had way better numbers than Tom Brady, even missing what he missed 3 games. I mean, he had crazy numbers.
I thought it was
missing
4
those.
or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had better numbers.
I think it might have been more
better
because
team,
I
better
remember-
record.
Yeah, I
He
remember
would have
when
won MVP.
when he went down, everybody was questioning, what can they do?
What can they do?
When did he go down? 4, 5, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, because he played for Nick Foles played for the last 4 games.
Yeah.
And so he was still.
And what about Nick Foles? You know what I mean?
That injury made Nick Foles so much money.
Is it all system? You know what I mean? That guy played. If you look at the numbers, his compared to Brady's in the Super Bowl, he's comparable.
Crazy numbers.
Crazy numbers.
Crazy
Great
numbers.
playoff run. Reminds me of when Joe Flacco led the Ravens on that Super Bowl run.
For sure.
And that was all a farce. It was all BS, right?
A little bit.
You know, because he got that
Time told that story.
He bet on himself. Didn't take the contract extension. He's like, I'm gonna play this year and go into free agency, and he just happened to win the Super Bowl, and you got a damn near $100 million contract out of it, right?
Can you hate the guy? I mean, you really gotta respect it in a little way.
You gotta respect
people that bet on themselves and get paid out. That's a bold move, and it pays off. Good for you. But all right, Carson Wentz. Honestly, if you watch him, he's not just a product of a system. That guy, he's breaking tackles. He's got great downfield accuracy. And was it Mike Wallace? That's just a perfect fit for what they do. Just their downfield,
deep throw,
straight line,
and
straight line,
and just they do the run pass by option. It's really like, all right, we're gonna hand it off to Jay Ajayi.
Motherfucker, shout out.
Yeah, the future NFL system. But no, this is the future NFL quarterback. This is going to be the next generation of who takes over. The Brees, the Bradys, the Aaron Rodgers. This is the next.
Wentz is at the top of that list.
Yeah. The funny thing is, out of those young quarterbacks, they compare Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz a lot, and I think I always go back to the eyeball test. When you watch him play, you watch Carson Wentz, and he looks like a fucking franchise quarterback.
Oh, he looks like a great
he has
quarterback.
A sixth
he looks
sense.
like, honestly, like he could be one of the greats if he stays healthy.
He has a sixth sense and like pocket awareness, avoiding tackles, avoiding pressure.
Size.
He just has it.
He's got the size, the arm.
Yeah, if anything, he might be a little too reckless, and maybe that's why he hurt his knee last year, but you can't blame the guy for being aggressive.
For wanting to win.
Yeah.
And he'll probably learn. He's probably not going to make that mistake again. He's sitting on the sideline watching your team win the Super Bowl. Has got to be heartbreaking in a way, knowing that it could have been you. So when it comes down to it, he's going to slide next time. He's going to get out of bounds. He's going to throw the ball away instead of trying to hang in the pocket.
I feel like these days we live in the short-term media where we forget things. But over the last 2 years, him and Coors Light, Dak Prescott got highly compared. But I don't think they are even in the same class.
No.
When you watch Dak without Ezekiel Elliott on the field, without Zeke, not even he can't make the throws. He can't do it. I think that Dak Prescott's gonna have a bad season. He's got no wide receivers. This doesn't have to do with the top 10.
Tough year.
Honestly, I think there's 5 other quarterbacks I'd put in the top 10 before I put Dak Prescott.
I think there might be 10 on my list.
Ooh, it's gonna be in that neighborhood.
I think Tyrod Taylor will have a better season this year statistically than Dak Prescott.
Cousins, Alex Smith, I'd probably do ahead of that. Cam Newton, I'd do ahead of that. Who else? Andrew Luck, I'd probably put ahead of that. There's some guys.
Here's a question for you guys: do you think Carson Wentz will be in the MVP consideration this season?
With at least 14 games played, yeah.
I guess that's a big question mark. How much does he play?
When does he come back? Because Foles has shown he's more than capable as a backup, comfortable with the offense. They might hold him out longer than he has to. Not because Foles is going to take his job, but
they don't want to rush him.
But just to make sure that he's 100% healthy. Depends on their record at the time. I think that they're going to be in good shape. I think Wentz could be in the MVP discussion. Like Welty said, if he plays 14 games plus, I think that he could be eligible for winning the MVP.
I think you might have been right when you said, if he would have stayed healthy.
Oh,
because he was on pace.
Yeah.
I think he would have won MVP. I think he would have won the Super Bowl. And I think right now we'd be debating whether he should be 1 or 2 on the list if he stayed healthy last year. I think that's where that conversation would be.
That's crazy because South Dakota State, right?
North Dakota
State. Sorry for the lower division school, but
North Dakota State.
And these
get it right.
Yeah.
Every draft they have these quarterbacks come up from the small schools, big in stature, look like the NFL quarterback, but they never seem to pan out. You have the Joe Flacco from a long time ago from Delaware.
Flacco won a Super Bowl.
Same school as Rich Gannon.
Rich Gannon was a legitimate NFL quarterback.
Journeyman.
Rich
Until he won his MVP.
It's French.
Only John Gruden got Rich Gannon an MVP. Shout out to my boy Derek Carr at number 10. Next year he'll be in the top 5. I'm calling it.
No excuses, Derek Carr. You messed up this year.
No excuses. Yeah, I'll say that much. But like
You go to church on Sundays.
I like Wentz's spot right here, and he might even be above the next one on our list. Ty.
Number 3, we have Drew Brees. Brees is Christ.
Brees is Christ? Is that what you're saying? Okay, Brees is Christ.
We all knew.
That's how he saved New Orleans.
Last year,
he kind of did. He was the savior.
Yeah, he was.
Of New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome story.
He wasn't the hero they wanted, but he was the hero they needed.
Yeah, he probably lives in a nice high rise.
I was gonna say trailer down there in the 9th Ward, but my bad.
Last year, the team just totally changed their identity. Breeze went from throwing 40 to 50 times a game to having this stable of awesome running backs with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. They had amazing years. Alvin Kamara is such a huge weapon coming out of the backfield as a pass-catching running back, and they really took a lot off of Breeze, and it was kind of interesting to watch him play that way. And then their defense stepped up. Their defense became one of the top defenses in the league.
Used to be laughable.
Used to be just completely
They were laughable.
Used to be the worst.
Routinely 29th or 30th in the NFL in total defense for years and years.
They should have brought back Downeygate. That was probably the answer there.
Probably. So the team had an overhaul last year, and they were super successful. Probably should have. They should have beat the Vikings. That they had the miracle play to beat the Saints in that playoff game, and then you never know what happens with the Eagles. But they have an awesome team coming back. Added that pass rusher. What's his name? Dupree.
Bud Dupree?
No, the guy they drafted.
That physical specimen.
The physical specimen. Yeah. He's like 6'7".
First rounder?
Yeah, they traded up to get him. So we'll see. Harvey.
Yeah, he's like a monster of a human being that they're going to teach how to play football.
So, you can't really depend on a first round, like a middle of the round pass rusher, but, they don't really need to. They have Cam Jordan and guys like that, Marcus Lattimore. So I think that he's in line to have another great season, super efficient. He's got Michael Thomas, has a chance to be one of the best receivers in the game. Yeah, standard Breeze season.
Hey, I'll tell you this much. Love Drew Brees. Think he's overrated on our top 10. But not because he's not going to be great, just because the stats are going to trend downwards for him. I think one of the guys from 4 through 10 is going to outperform him.
Derek Carr.
I think a couple might, to be honest. And, not taking anything away from him, but like what Sean Payton's doing, which is as intelligent as you can possibly get, which is take the workload off of your aging quarterback. What is he, 38?
38.
38 years old.
30, flirty, and thriving.
Take the workload off that guy. Put as much as you can on the young dudes around him. They got a great core of running backs. Alvin Kamara, like, what a fucking...
What a steal.
What, a third rounder?
I have no idea.
The guy
Him
was
and Kareem Hunt.
Oh my god!
Steals of the draft.
Sometimes, like that seems to be the theme these days.
Sweet
like you
spot, third round.
Man, you just steal running backs in third. There's no quarterbacks. Running backs? You want one? Get him in the third. Man, that guy is awesome. Michael Thomas. We were talking about him off camera. Might be the most underrated receiver in the entire league.
I agree.
Outside of him, I know they got Ted Ginn Jr. to fill a role, but like they don't have a lot of supporting cast at wide receiver. Thomas will have a huge year. Breeze's numbers will look good, but I think he might get outperformed by some of the quarterbacks on our list in terms of what we're used to from his sort of production.
True.
I think when you're talking about in terms of numbers, like, okay, how many yards, how many touchdowns,
he can't throw for 5,000 yards every year.
Yeah, you're going to say, like, okay, Drew Brees didn't have a great year. But when you look at managing a team, running an offense, getting the ball where it needs to be, he's going to be a top quarterback. And, I mean, obviously this is partially, like, Lifetime Achievement Award. Like, the guy has been...
Why, he gets number 3?
Consistency, yeah. And it's like...
He sets such a high standard.
Yeah.
And if
it's hard not to.
Yeah, and look at like older like quarterbacks that have done very, very well. It's like, okay, Brett Favre, you had the Adrian Peterson with the Vikings, and they went to the NFC Championship game. Who else did you have going there? You had John Elway with Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis was the guy that got them to the Super Bowl. But they knew
on Elway's older years.
Yeah,
on the legs of Terrell Davis.
Yeah, okay, maybe statistically in other years they did better, but in terms of the team,
pass rush of Von Miller.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a balanced team that he's going to be the leader of, and that's why you give this to him. It's the track record, it's the leadership, it's getting the ball where it needs to be and running one of the most awesome offenses in the league, and that's going to be Drew Brees at the head of that. So he gets number 3. Obviously, there's going to be some fantasy football players that get better stats, but in terms of winning football games, he's going to be one of the best. That's why he's number 3 on our list, and because obviously his track record. So that's Drew Brees for you. I met the guy one time. He was sweet. He took a picture with me.
Sweet guy.
Yeah, he signed some photos for me.
They went in the back alley. He sucked his dick. It was fucking great.
His wife was there.
She sucked his dick too. It was awesome.
She was super fine though. I would say I'd have a bunch of kids if she was my wife. Yeah.
I love Drew Brees. Your franchise made a huge mistake moving on from that guy.
How do you draft Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson in the same year and you F that up?
You guys
were the San Diego Chargers. That's how you do that.
That's not talking about.
I remember in his last season at Purdue, in his bowl game, when he led them to a great victory. And I remember the same year, because I was betting on college football when I was a very young person. And I remember
that's illegal.
I remember my mom had a sugar daddy. He put some money in the pot for me, and I'm gonna win that money. I remember LaDainian Tomlinson at Texas Christian University, and I said, this guy is gonna be a fucking star. And I remember looking at Drew Brees, and I was like, this guy's gonna be a fucking star. And those guys turned out great. And I remember looking at Sebastian Janikowski, and I was like, this guy is a fucking kicker.
He's one of the best Raiders of all time.
But when you said the list, I said Tom Brady, blah blah. We were going through a list of names, and Drew Brees was in the top 3 of things that I said. I'm sure it was.
You can't be outside the top 5. You can't.
Huge.
There's no way. Anyways, let's get to number 2.
Number 2, the Mac Daddy, Tom Brady.
Oh, is this an upset?
TB12.
Is this an upset?
I don't think it's an upset.
I
think it's appropriate. It's appropriately placed.
This guy is the reigning MVP at 40 years old. What he's doing is insane.
I don't think anybody's won an MVP at that sort of age.
No, he's the first.
Definitely no.
He's the first.
Yeah.
And I watched Tom vs. Time. It was a very interesting little documentary on his life.
I'm sorry.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen.
6th round.
Yeah. This guy is probably the most dedicated athlete we've ever seen to winning in his sport. And
Michael
Jordan-esque. He is Jordan. He's the Jordan of football to me. He's relentless, super hard worker, keeps his body in shape. The rules have changed around him, so he doesn't take as much of a beating as quarterbacks of the past have.
That's a great point.
Yes. A lot of quarterbacks are going to benefit from that.
Troy Aikman didn't.
No, he did not. Steve Young did not. He lost his number 1 guy, Julian Edelman. They wouldn't even let him appeal. Banned 4 games for steroid use. So that's going to hurt. But Tom Brady, much like Russell Wilson, makes chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Better than anybody.
Better than anyone. He's still got Gronk. Gronk is always going to have injury issues. That's always lurking in the background. He's got his guys, his new guys, Chris Hogan, Malcolm Mitchell. They could be his number 1 and 2 options. Braxton Berrios, watch out for this guy. Drafted out of the University of Miami.
Tell me about him.
This guy's the new Wes Welker. Could be the new Wes Welker. He looks just like him, 20 years younger.
So he's a white wide receiver.
He's a small white wide receiver.
Of course he is.
Yes.
Okay.
Very quick, sure hands.
Is he a wide receiver or a wide receiver?
Technically, he's Hispanic.
Oh,
So,
all right.
a little Latin flavor.
PC police.
He's Latino. He's Latino American. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And he's
so are you.
And I am.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. And he's got Bill Belichick. I mean, Brady and Belichick. They've been a staple for the whole time I've been watching football, pretty much. And you can never count them out, especially in the division that they play in. It's still shitty, as always. He's going to put up numbers. I don't think he's going to win the MVP again. I think he won his last year. But it's Brady, it's Belichick.
What a fucking great analysis.
He's coming back.
And before I take
he's always going to come back.
Before I take a Coors Light sponsored pee break, I got to ask you this one question. Do you think the Patriots' success is more dependent on Bill Belichick or Tom Brady?
It's Brady.
You think it's Brady? I agree.
It's Brady because Belichick's a master coach, master strategist, but he was with the Browns. I mean, he took them to the playoffs, but you need that guy on the field to make plays. Like, it doesn't matter how well you draw up plays. Like, you need a great player to execute.
You need a guy with ice in his veins to handle all those Super Bowls and just pull it out every single freaking time.
Yes.
Tom Brady's the GOAT. We get it. You're the GOAT. You've been doing it for freaking, 15 years now. You have the rings. You have the MVPs. You're clutch. Every time something needs to happen, it happens.
He's got the girl.
Freaking, yeah. You date supermodels and I don't know. You deserve all the respect, but I hate giving it to you because I just hate watching you win all the time. I'm tired of it. I'm really excited about the next generation of quarterbacks, so I don't have to watch Patriots and Super Bowls anymore. All right, that's just me being bitter. That's just me, and I apologize, Tom Brady. You deserve better. But on behalf of every team and every fan of these teams that have lost to you, we're tired of your shit. Fucking retire already. You've accomplished everything you've wanted.
Please.
Yeah, well, you don't need the money. You have a sugar mama on top of the millions of dollars you already make, so whatever. You could probably be argued for number one, but, the other guy can run faster, so whatever.
His age is always a question. I mean, there was a big controversy last year when they traded Jimmy Garoppolo. A lot of people thought they should have kept him and started the Jimmy G era in New England, but
they probably should have, in my honest opinion.
It probably would have been the smarter move, but they're sticking with Brady. They're sticking with maybe one or two more Brady-like years. It hasn't been done before at this kind of age, but if anyone can do it, it's him. It's kind of like Peyton Manning, years ago. Like, he put up crazy numbers every year, got his team to the playoffs every year, and he had that neck injury. But then he came back to the Broncos, he showed he can still do it, put up crazy numbers, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
Yeah.
And I think something similar is going to happen with Brady. Brady doesn't have the career-threatening neck injury that Peyton Manning had, but I think one day he's just going to fall.
Sharp decline.
Happened to Kobe, happened to all these guys.
Achilles.
Kobe was dope until that Achilles went out. I'm going to say. He was going to carry them to the playoffs.
Peyton neck injury.
Anyways.
Here's my answer on this one. Brady realistically, apparently, in his mindset, thinks that he can play until 45.
You know why?
Never
it's because refs won't let anybody hit Brady. If you flick him in the earlobe, you're getting a flag, and everybody knows it, and it's just not fair. Tired of this. NFL, we're all tired of this. We all see it. He sees it. This guy sees it. I see it.
Welty, it's a reality. The last time Brady
You're the victim of the tuck rule.
Yeah.
If anybody should be upset, it should be you.
I know, but I'm realistic. I'm grounded here on Earth. You know what I mean? I'm like a Nikolai Tesla coil. I'm going to use the atmosphere to create energy. So here's what's going on with Brady playing till 45. Nobody believes it's realistic, but I can see it because the only major injury he's ever had in his career is when a Chiefs player dove at his fucking lower shin and broke his shin in half.
And we had to change all the rules because of this guy.
All the rules got changed. Outside of that,
you spoiled ass. Okay,
I like, I respect the fuck out of Brady and asked that question for a reason. Is it Belichick or Brady? I think that it's a two-part answer because it's Brady now, but it used to be Belichick. Because I don't think if he gets drafted by anybody else, he achieves that sort of success. Because Belichick's a maniac, and if you look at that picture,
he cheats.
We've all seen.
My bitterness is coming out. I need to step away. This isn't bitter.
They're known cheaters. They've been documented cheaters. But we all remember that picture of Brady from the combine when you see him shirtless. You know what I'm talking about.
I know you jerk
He looks. He literally looks. If I took my shirt off, he would look like what I look like right now, currently. Am I discorrect?
No, you're not.
Yeah, like incorrect. Like that's what he would look like. You know what I mean? So I think that Belichick implanted all this greatness into him, but I think he's moved past. The Patriots. Yeah, the Patriots. They don't depend on Belichick. They depend on Brady at this point.
Yes, I believe so.
Greatness, man.
Greatness.
What can we say? And plus, sometimes things go your way. We're talking about the Seahawks. Super Bowl.
Need some luck.
We're talking about.
He also had bad luck with the 2 Giants Super Bowls.
Bad luck, or greatness from other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brady's Brady. Until he falls off the cliff, I'm going to believe that he's the real Tom Brady, and he's going to put up another great season.
Wait, did you say the real Slim Shady? Oh, no, the
Tom
real
Brady.
Tom Brady.
TB12.
Until he shows something else, what else can we do, man?
You know what else? I think he's also out. He's just going to come out guns blazing and just show, hey, fuck the controversy.
I'm cool.
Fuck the haters.
I'm good.
Me and Belichick, we're cool. The team is fine. We're going to win.
I think the exact same thing. That guy is as you touched on earlier, he's as tenacious as a Michael. When it comes to winning, and that's that part. All athletes got great genetics, but there's this sort of winning gene. And I think Tom Brady's inspired by his childhood watching Joe Montana. Mm-hmm. And I think he felt like he surpassed Joe Montana in the Falcons Super Bowl.
He has.
Then what did he throw for against the
500
yards? What, 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns? No interceptions?
Yeah, I mean,
he played as perfectly as even that last Hail Mary almost got caught.
All the controversy comes out after a loss, but he and the offense played extremely well. Played more than well enough to win.
Dude,
Their defense let them down.
Dude, as well as you can get, right?
Their defense let them down.
It's about as good as you can get.
If they win, he's got 6. No one's talking about that.
6, that's Jordan's number.
That's Jordan.
Yeah.
I think he desperately wanted that.
Yeah. Well, when he got the 5,
you can't have it all.
And passed Joe, that's what it was. That's
for him. For him.
It's people always we're doing podcasting, we're analyzing sports, but analysts tend to get too picky. Is LeBron great with only 3 rings? I think LeBron's fucking amazing with 3 rings.
For sure.
Is Tom Brady great with 5? Is he the greatest of all time? I think he won that already. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Raise your hand if you're tired of Tom Brady. Tired of this guy. There we go.
It's still interesting. He still makes it interesting because I'm not he beat me for the tuck rule. The Raiders should have had a Super Bowl that year. Rich Gannon, what I'm talking about? That's my Super Bowl I lost. But I'll be a realist in the terms of, the annals of history or the annals of his story. Holla at your boy. He's got jokes on deck. He goes down as one of the greats, and you got to respect that. If you respect the game and respect the sport, you got to respect the player. You know what I mean? And if anybody's gone out there, if there's an NFL version of a Michael Jordan when it comes to winning tenacity, I think it's Tom Brady. So I don't know if we have more to say on him.
Please no. We're done.
All right,
and I hate that motherfucker, by the way. I hate that motherfucker.
What you've all been waiting for, the creme de la creme.
Surprise pick.
Aaron.
Roger.
It's French.
Is he from France?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He eats a lot of French fries.
Yeah, poutine.
Freedom fries.
Uh,
I don't know if you remember that.
if Tom Brady is Michael Jordan, Aaron Rodgers is Michael Jackson.
I give you that. That's a solid comparison.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers is more like a. Before I interrupt your introduction, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is more like a Kobe Bryant, kind of like a cocky.
A solo act.
Like I'm great. I'm great solo.
Yeah.
Like a solo act.
Solo guitarist.
You know, I didn't need the side pieces. I'll do it by myself. My greatness will show itself, and I'll discount double check. You know what I'm talking about?
I think Rodgers doesn't have the rings. He doesn't have the stature that
He's got an A-ring.
he's got a ring, but he doesn't have the the stacks of rings, the hardware that Brady and Jordan do. But he has that killer mentality, and he has that edge and that cockiness. And this year, he's coming back with a vengeance. He's going to go on a rampage. He got hurt and thrown out of last season by, some would call it a cheap shot. I think it was kind of a cheap shot. Anthony Barr hit him, fell on top of him full weight.
Oh,
This is football.
You're talking about
This is football.
You're talking
Yeah.
about Tony
This is
Saragusa
football.
falling on Rich Gannon.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah, same kind of thing.
Same thing.
This is
Took a
football
loss of another
rivalries,
Super Bowl.
Vikings versus Packers
And let's not
rivalry.
cut out. Ty's got a whole thing he's going on
That's
right
the
now.
point. That's the point. He is coming back, and he's gonna fuck the NFC North. He's gonna fuck the Vikings.
Rubber, no rubber.
No rubber.
No rubber.
No rubber.
Vaseline, no Vaseline.
Anthony Barr, he's gonna get it.
No Vaseline.
He's gonna get it hard. And they lost Jordy Nelson. That was his guy. That was one of his good friends. They got Jimmy Graham. He's gonna turn Jimmy Graham back into old school Jimmy Graham.
I actually like the move.
TDs galore.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams is his new number one.
Devontae's great.
That's his guy.
He used to be Derek Carr's guy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of big targets. Mercedes Lewis. I mean, you can say what you want about him. The guy's a big target.
Randall Cobb, I think, will have a great bounce back.
Randall Cobb. I mean, if he can stay
Dealt with
healthy,
injuries.
if he can stay healthy, I mean, Aaron Rodgers makes all of these guys better. They drafted Equinemius St. Brown out of Notre Dame.
Good pronunciation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
6'4", big, fast.
He was supposed to go a lot of rounds earlier.
fell late in the draft.
Where did he go? Fifth?
Sixth round.
Yeah. Phew.
Rodgers is gonna make him awesome too. I mean,
It's one of the.
he's the man. He is the most talented quarterback. He's in his prime. I mean, he has got it all, and he's gonna put it all together. He's got a chip on his shoulder right now from getting injured and knocked out of last year, and he's ready.
When I think about Aaron Rodgers, I think about greatness, and I think about highlights, and what pops in my mind immediately is some of those fucking Hail Marys that he's thrown, and everyone was so lucky. No, man, you put that ball in a place where your guy can get it, behind how lucky is it if you can have multiple Hail Marys, and you're the guy who can throw Hail Marys consistently into the end zone, from the short game to the long game. I think about him if you want to compare him to a basketball player, he's the guy who can drive the lane and go dunk or hit a layup, hit the mid-range jumper, and step back for a three-pointer. He's got the complete game.
He's got everything.
He's got everything you want or would need,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Plus the swag.
The swag. The
The
confidence.
swag. You know what it makes me think of when you first were talking about him? The first thing I was thinking about is greatness. I was thinking about the story where when he was in training camp, with Brett Favre, and Brett Favre took his helmet and put it on the mid-table as if it was the one helmet they're going to give to charity. All the players are going to sign their signatures on the helmet, and he's trying to get out to the field, and he's like, I can't find my helmet, and his helmet was that helmet on the table with all the players' signatures on it. And he went and grabbed it, went out on the practice field, and he went through the whole practice with it. You know what I mean? And he's the type of guy, you can hate on him all you want. He's gonna come out and swag out and be dominant and be great. Because he's not gonna let nobody hold him down. He's gonna be great.
No.
You know what I mean?
He's great. He knows he's great. He's the prototypical quarterback in terms of what you build. He's mobile. He can make every single throw. He's smart. He's fiery. He makes all the plays you want. He's got the Super Bowl ring. You were talking about like, hey, I like the way he throws those Hail Marys. That's what sticks out. What sticks out in my mind? The back shoulder passes.
Oh,
those things unguardable, and he just hits them on the money every single time. And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Top tier defense and nothing. You have perfect timing and perfect throw. That's what I think of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the guy, he can run when he needs to. You can tell on the field that he knows exactly what he's doing 100% of the time. Like, he is in control of the game. He knows what the defense is doing. He knows what he wants his offense to do. He makes all the right audibles at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I don't know what else you want a guy to do. That's just amazing. I mean, the loss of weapons, a wide receiver with Jordan Nelson, not even that big of a deal in my opinion. He's still going to put the ball in the perfect place. Anybody with decent hands is going to get it, so it doesn't even matter that much.
Targets is all he needs.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, the running game, has he ever had a running game where you're like, oh, wow, that really helped him?
No.
He doesn't need it. Maybe later in his career it'd be helpful, but now it's...
You talk about the supporting cast, but, that Green Bay management, man, that front office, they're shrewd. They're very shrewd. They don't spend much money. They like to... elevate their draft picks into positions on the starting offense and the starting defense.
He's spoken up about that.
And as much as like we talk about this, like his offensive line is not good. He has no running game. I like his wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Jimmy Graham. We'll see.
Who's the best player on their defense?
Mike Daniels.
Yeah, that's what you got.
Nose tackle.
Yeah, probably still Clay Matthews though, and he's fading.
Fast.
They lost Hayward to the Chargers. Didn't re-sign him.
Yeah.
They're the type of team who likes to draft and like develop.
They don't have a choice. They're in Green Bay. They don't attract any free agents. Nobody's like, I'm ready to go to Wisconsin. Let's do that. No.
That's one thing that nobody will talk about in the future. We'll talk about it now, but when it's all said and done, 5-10 years down the line, nobody's going to talk about the lack of support that, that Aaron Rodgers got. Everybody talks about, Tom Brady doesn't have this or doesn't have that. Nobody talks about that with Aaron Rodgers. You know why? Because he's so fucking good that he masks the whole offense. And nobody, looks at the deficiencies because, his expectations, they expect a lot out of Brady, but they expect Rodgers to be fucking damn near perfect.
Yeah.
And
Can you imagine if Rodgers had a Randy Moss kind of wide receiver
when Brady got him?
Yeah, that'd be the same thing. It would be record-breaking offense, and they'd be unstoppable. But he's never had that guy. Jordy Nelson is a very, very, very good wide receiver, but he's not dominant in any way. If he had something like Calvin Johnson back in the day, if he had a Julio Jones or Antonio Brown,
AJ Green, if he had anything like that.
He turned Greg Jennings into an all-pro.
Dude, if he had Amari Cooper right now, which is what Derek Carr's going to, you talk about the back shoulder fade with Jordy. Carr's very good at that. But we're talking about the champ, man. He gets number one on the rank, discount double check for a fucking reason. Because you can't doubt this motherfucker. He's talented. He proves it on the field. He's swaggy. He's coming off an injury. But,
maybe
that doesn't...
the most fun player to watch in the NFL.
Dude,
throws off platform.
He was I thought about, I've thought about the Hail Marys. It's just no, I think about all the greatness and all the great plays, but that pops out immediately because anybody who can throw consistent Hail Marys, 1, 2, 3, that game against the Lions when they were done,
threw another one.
He's just that motherfucker.
No, you did get a little credit, or you got lucky with those backup refs that came in with the Seattle game. You guys remember that?
Oh, yeah. Well, remember when he beat the Cardinals and Larry Fitzgerald and shit? The guy...
Killing me, Larry.
The guy's a champ. He almost beat Ben for another ring, but Santonio Holmes caught a great ball.
No, they beat the Steelers.
Oh, they beat the Steelers. What was their loss?
They lost to the Seahawks in that playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
They would have played the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
That's when the Seahawks had those trick plays.
Brandon Boykin...
That fake field goal thing
going on. Onside kick.
Yeah. Oh, when Russell Wilson, and this is one of the reasons why I love Russell Wilson so much, because they were down so far, and he threw 4 touchdown passes, and he threw a long 50-yard touchdown. into the end zone.
It's a tough game for the Packers.
Man, it's a tough list to make, I'll tell you this much. You guys are lucky you're not on the Effin football squad because you'd have to make these sort of like important decisions that we got to make over here, that we're banging our heads against the wall like fucking jackhammers and shit, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't know if motherfuckers can compete with us, to be honest, at the end of the day, because we got the dopest podcasts out here. That's our motherfucking top 10 list.
Everybody gets one honorable mention.
Yeah,
one honorable mention. What do you guys got?
I like that.
$, you got an honorable mention? For next year, who do you think's going to be
What's
the
one
best?
guy you would have plugged in the top 10 who didn't make it?
I'm going to say Kirk Cousins. I think that he's in a good situation with the Vikings. They have a solid team, solid defense. He's got weapons around him with Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. Dalvin Cook's going to be back. He's wanted, finally. You know, he was never wanted in Washington.
Jay Gruden hates that motherfucker.
It was a toxic relationship there. I think he's ready to go, and I think he's going to have a solid year. He's going to have a very good year, actually.
I like that.
All right, Rory, what you got? What's your honorable mention?
I'm gonna go with his replacement. I'm going with Alex Smith. I think he's gonna put up top 10 production and numbers this season in Jay Gruden's offense. I think that Alex Smith is among the most underrated players of all time. People always say game manager, but when you look at the statistics from last year in Andy Reid's offense, which is the caveat you got to take into effect who's calling the plays. But he was one of the most effective deep ball throwers last season. In fact, I think he threw for the most, like for the highest
70-yard
over 20 yards. Like he was the most effective quarterback. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
You know, so like you got to take that into effect, and that's what Jay Gruden likes to do. And I think Jay Gruden's really excited about him. I think that Jay believes that he's a smarter quarterback than Cousins. And I think he's going to shine in their offense. And that's the type of guy, that's the type of quarterback you want. You know, he's been shunned. You know, his original best year in San Francisco gets overtaken by Kaepernick, traded out. You know, does great in Kansas City. Multiple great years, has his best year. Bam, we're moving on from him.
Yeah, and this isn't about playoffs, too. You can say Alex Smith in the regular season. That's a pretty good lock for the last 5 years, at least. The guy wins a lot of games. So I like that. I like Alex Smith on that one.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this season, period. You know, so that's my one honorable mention.
I'm gonna go with the guy that's coming back from injury. I'm gonna go with Andrew Luck. I think next year he could easily have top 10 numbers.
Sorry, I was coughing.
No, I mean they played it safe last year. They held him out. They're gonna make sure their future guy is taken care of. They still have T.Y. Hilton. I think the running game is gonna be better. I mean, Andrew Luck, if you would have said 2 years ago, he would have easily cracked top 5. So I think this year he's going to be all together. I think he's a guy that could easily jump into the top 10 with his numbers and production.
No offensive line. I don't think 2 years easily.
They just drafted the best offensive lineman in the freaking draft. They drafted
Nelson. Yeah, I like that
guy. Can you name a wide receiver on that team besides T.Y. Hilton?
They're the Moncrief.
Yeah.
Dante Moncrief actually plays for a different team now, I think.
Isn't he with the Patriots?
Yeah, I think he is. I'm pretty sure Moncrief is gone.
Well, they still have the tight end that was decent.
Remember when they drafted Philip Dorsett? They got Quentin Nelson, which was a good offensive line pick. You know, I don't mean to nitpick your pick, but I think that was a bad pick. I'm just gonna call it right now. He's not a top 10. You guys knock on Carr. I'll say that guy is a fucking. We'll see if he plays this year. All right, you know, and at this point, we just want to give a shout out to all the cats who come out and watch the podcast, listen to the podcast.
You're the real number one.
You're the real number one. We appreciate you so much. Tell your friends, family members, hit up the Twitter, follow us on YouTube. We appreciate it a tremendous amount, and all I'm gonna say, it's gonna be a fucking great motherfucking year. We're gonna do a top 10 for each positional category coming up. And sorry for the hiatus, motherfucker, but we're out here. It's the Effin Football Podcast.
We're almost to the football season. We're getting closer and closer every day. So you know what?
We love you guys.
Hold out a little bit longer.
We love you guys. Peace, motherfucker. Peace. Boom. We out.